Red Supernova Dragon is an OCG import that has recently hit the TCG via Ghost from the Past. Now this card is based on Jack Atlas's Red Nova Dragon from the 5Ds anime, and that is an upgraded version of Red Dragon Archfiend. Now this card has a really ridiculous summoning condition. It requires 3 tuner monsters and 1 synchro. That is a non-tuner. Now this card, of course, has a very Quasar-like summoning condition, so not a lot of decks can make it, but there are 2 in particular that can make this deck relatively easily. Synchrons, for example, can make it via Junk Speeder. Junk Speeder special summoning out the Synchrons and then just going straight into it. But I want to look at this card in Resonators, which is, of course, Jack Atlas's deck from the anime. So, let's try it out. So Resonators are a very old theme. They date all the way back to the early days of 5Ds, and I believe they started with just Dark Resonator, which was Jack Atlas's main tuner monster in the first season. It couldn't be destroyed by battle once per turn, and that was it. But Resonators do have one really nice thing going for them, and that's the fact that they are a main character deck, meaning they're going to continually get support, and they have gotten support since they came out, and with each eventual wave of support, they got a little bit better, until they started printing some really ridiculous cards. Crimson Resonator is by far the most ridiculous of the monsters in the theme, and it's the way that we are going to go about summoning Red Supernova Dragon. What this card does is, as long as you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand, and you can only do so once per turn, and doing so will lock you into synchros. Then, if you control a synchro monster alongside it, you can special summon 2 Resonator monsters from your deck. So if we manage to get this card out with a synchro monster, we can go straight into Red Supernova Dragon, and all we really need to do to accomplish this is to special summon it and then get out a level 4 non-tuner. From there we just summon Red Rising Dragon. That brings back Crimson Resonator and fulfills the entire condition. So now that we know how we're going to be summoning Red Supernova Dragon, let's talk about what exactly it does. Its most important effect is when an opponent activates a monster's effect. You can banish the card. It does not banish its cost. It activates the effect first, and then if the effect resolves, it banishes itself. And when it does, it also banishes all cards your opponent controls. Then it comes back to your side of the field during your next end phase. But that's not even all it does. It also gains 500 attack for every single tuner monster in your graveyard, meaning that it's not uncommon for the card to come out with 8,000 attack, or return to the field with 8,000 attack and end the game on its own. Red Supernova Dragon's attack gaining effect is also relevant thanks to another card that we play in the strategy, called Red Rain. Now Red Rain is an exceptionally powerful trap card that can be brought back to your hand whenever you synchro summon a Dark Dragon Synchro monster. On field, what it does is you can activate it if you control a level 8 or higher Dark Dragon Synchro monster. When it's activated, it banishes all monsters in the field except for the monster with the highest level. Because of the way that this is phrased, it will automatically banish Xyz and Link monsters. Additionally, any card left behind is unaffected by all card effects until the end of the turn except its own. So having an 8,000 attack Red Supernova Dragon that's unaffected by opponent's card effects is kind of ridiculous. Probably the next most important card of the deck is Chaos Dragon, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. The reason this card's important is because it's a level 8 synchro monster that is a Dark Dragon. So it fits the conditions for how the deck likes to treat Red Dragon Archfiend. Most of the cards that go about summoning themselves that want Red Dragon Archfiend just call for a Dark Dragon and usually want a level 8. So getting this card out and using its effect to start milling the deck so that you can get Red Rains into the graveyard or get extenders into your hand is super good. Additionally, this card has an effect that allows it to bring itself back so that you can use it for your upgraded synchro monsters later on in the game. Now there's lots of other cards in this deck that exist that help come together to make this deck function. Some examples of that would be like Dawnwalker, which is a extender that functionally is a discard from hand to make a level 8 synchro monster. Red Resonator is an alternative starter. Synchron Resonator is a powerful extender that lets you recur cards from the graveyard. Resonator Call is a rota for all of your tuners, and of course this deck can play Pot of Prosperity, so it's naturally very consistent. You even play Witch of the Black Forest, which adds to consistency. Let's go ahead and address some of this deck's weaknesses. Now this deck really wants to go first, not because it can't go second, but because there's kind of a threshold as far as how many negates or interruptions it can get through. This deck primarily struggles to get through board wipes, as if you don't have the proper extenders or enough extenders, you can't re-establish your board. So cards like Torrential Tribute or Nibiru are pretty bad for this deck to deal with. But in general, that's kind of a problem that a lot of classical style synchro decks kind of have. You need at least 2 cards to kind of go off most of the time, so you need to be sure that the cards that you are using in order to get over your opponent's board are valuable and take care of more than 1 card at once. So you're going to need to rely on your side deck quite a bit for that. That's not to say that this deck is bad, though. This deck probably won't be topping any major event anytime soon, but it is a great deck to take to a locals or something like that. You can take a lot of people by surprise and you can win against some pretty tough opponents. This deck, as long as you're going first, has a great matchup against most of the meta. Thanks for watching the video. Tell me in the comments section down below what you'd like to see next, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.